The Escape Your Limit podcast gets close up and personal with some of the leading entrepreneurs in the world of fitness and wellness. You'll find out what drives them, fuels them, and motivates them to give one more rep, even when no one else is counting. So now over to your host, serial entrepreneur and co-founder of Escape Fitness, one of the world's leading functional training brands, Matthew Janjusic.
We're in beautiful Santa Barbara. Thank you for inviting us into your house. I think I brought the English weather with us today, haven't I?
Well, welcome to beautiful Santa Barbara, and we're glad you're here.
Yeah. So it can't rain too much. Like today, just for everybody, it's raining outside. So I'm sure it doesn't do that very often, does it?
You know what? Not often, but we actually welcome the rain. We had a drought here in California for 4 years, so you know what? God send today. Yeah. So grateful.
Yeah, so I'm in is this your library, reading room, or?
Yeah, this is our library to our beautiful home, and we moved here to Santa Barbara 4 years ago and took on this house as a great project.
Yeah.
And very excited to continue it for the next 5 more years.
Yeah.
So it's our hobby, sort of our sideline besides working out, which I do every day, but this is actually my other passion that I have is actually, doing homes.
Right, okay. So my guess is this wasn't the place where you were born. So take us back a little bit. Where did you grow up?
Yeah, good question. So I'm Cuban American,
okay,
and I was born in Miami, Florida.
Right.
And gravitated to California back in 1963.
Right.
And way back when. And so my family has been out here since then. And surely enough, my journey took me as my father. My father actually took me on a very sports journey since I was very young, especially out here in Cali.
Right.
He introduced me to sports.
Okay.
And being Cuban.
Your father was Cuban, was it?
So we'll see, we all were.
Right.
And we actually got into the national sports of Cuba, baseball. So at the age of 12, I got into baseball here, and as a very young man, so I became very athletic.
Right.
Matthew, I like sports, and I did sports.
Yeah.
And my journey is such that I'm always moving and making things happen in that way.
Yeah.
But by the age of 14, I think I needed something else.
Right.
And I needed to evolve myself, and there were 2 lives for me. One was what I call my early professional life, which I wanted to work.
Right.
So I was always a worker all the time. I mowed lawns, I did newspaper routes, I washed cars. I always wanted to make a buck here and there, even if it was $2. I didn't care. So I did that. And
was that because your parents said you had to do it, or you just, it's something you were just interested you in?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
I think I had, in my DNA, but especially my father always giving me the ethics to work.
Right.
was a key factor. Those values of working, with hard work, was something that always embedded in me.
Right.
As a very young man.
Really?
So I think that illuminated through my early teenage life.
Right.
And as I was saying, at the age of about 14, I started really getting into working out. Really started experimenting with I wouldn't say weightlifting, because weightlifting as it was today isn't what it was in those days, but it was more of an Olympic thing. But I started doing things in my own bedroom. I started doing push-ups in my bedroom and putting chairs, together and doing dips and just doing a lot of sit-ups. And I saw the change. I saw the change in my body. I saw, I was getting really, a nice configuration, a nice shape in my body. And that led a little bit to the gymnastics, which was very doing iron crosses and things like that. So I became very, very agile in working out.
Right.
However, the watershed moment, the tipping point, was when I wanted to join a gym.
Okay.
And what made me do it, I don't even know. I asked my father about it, and he takes me to this health club in North Hollywood, California.
Right.
Called North Hollywood Spa. And it was a little gym with a divider in the middle, women to the right, men to the left. And
how old were you then?
16.
Oh, 16, okay.
16 years old. I just started driving, so I had freedom. And we got in there. And it's very important for you to know that, because that was the catalyst to get me where I am today.
Okay.
That was the seed level,
Yeah.
as they say.
Yeah.
And that seed level of going into that club and feeling the magic.
Right.
You either feel it or you don't. You know, it's for you or for, and I walked in and I go, wow, this is great. And it was homemade equipment, and not even close to what we're seeing in today's market. But you know what? It was a bunch of guys. We were all working out. We were hanging out. We were talking. You know, we were helping each other work out.
Yeah.
It was an amazing feeling.
Right.
And I went there every day. I went there every day after school.
Right.
And it was just part of what I did. And I started just, lifting great weights. And it was mostly all, a lot of free weights. There wasn't a lot of, great machines to do it. But we were just...
So was it like just dumbbells and stuff?
Dumbbells and homemade machines and bench presses.
Right, okay.
That was really the catalyst of the whole thing, and some incline benches for abs.
Yeah.
It was that kind of thing. And then I quite don't even remember. I think the club is actually still there under a different brand right now.
Right.
I should actually go back. But that was, the grade C level that got me, working out.
Yeah.
Very important.
Yeah.
Very important time.
And at that time then, when you got into weights, I know when I was younger, it was sort of watching Pumping Iron and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Was there anyone around that time that sort of inspired you, or was it just something you naturally got into? Was there any role models? Or
I don't think there was any real role models itself. I think it was just being at the gym and seeing the guys there was the role model for
Right.
me. Being in that ambience, that ambience of just strength.
Yeah.
Quite cool.
Yeah.
Quite cool. Still have it.
And at school, were you good at school? What was school life like for you?
I was good at school. I mean,
Yeah.
I loved English.
Yeah.
I thought it was a great subject for me. I loved math.
Yeah.
I loved history.
Yeah.
I'm a big historian, as you can see by my library. It's got a lot of books. So I love reading. I love reading then. I love reading now. So no, I was a good student. Not a great student.
Yeah.
Okay, but I graduated.
Yeah.
And put it to you that way.
And
So,
what was when you was sort of finishing up at school? Did you have any plans, or how did that? What happened around that?
you know what? I had perception plans, I think.
Yeah.
At first I talked about being a lawyer.
Okay.
Going into some kind of mathematical profession of some kind.
Right.
But believe it or not, my father was in the garment contractor, in the garment business, and I actually, at the age of 17, started working for him.
Right.
Because I had, a bunch of jobs prior to that, but this was the best, the most meaningful job that I started with when I was 17.
Right.
And that was a great, catalyst to give me the actual focus, be able to focus on something that I wanted to do.
Right.
And not necessarily forever, but when I worked with him, I really focused on doing what he did great.
Right.
So that was the start of my professional part.
Okay.
Besides, the gym was the start of my lifting career, or my lifting fun part. But working for my father, back to those values of hard work that he gave me, was actually brought it to life working for him.
Right.
Because now I couldn't escape.
No.
I'm working for the old man. You know what I'm saying? So it was, I had to be accountable on all angles.
Right.
But being there with him, got me into a whole different level of professionalism too.
Right. And what was that? What were you doing there?
I started at the bottom.
Okay.
Sweeping floors, delivering garments, picking up garments, managing people in the what they call the bundler room, which they put all the stacks of fabrics together,
Right.
and making sure that all got done. And I did that for about 2 years.
Yeah.
Did that for about 2 years, and also I counted for all the fabrics. They came in rolls. We had to inventory that. So it was a bunch of odd jobs everywhere, which I'm glad I did it. It wasn't just one dimensional. I went into a whole, a lot of fields within the organization itself, which gave me a broader spectrum of business itself.
Right.
So it was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
And so what from there did you sort of just think that was it's enough? I want to go and do something else, or what caused you to sort of leave your father's business?
Yeah, you know what? I did. I did want to go, do something else. I think there comes to a point, at least in my life, that I wanted to break away.
Right.
Maybe it was my youth. Maybe it's my wild hair that I have sometimes that I just want to do my own thing. And I ended up at the age of 21, maybe 22, ended up going into the women's shoe business of all things. At the age of 22.
How did that happen?
Well, it happened because of this, because I ended up leaving my father, and I got a job at a shoe store selling shoes.
Right.
Now, that's also important for you to know today, because actually going from a factory atmosphere into a retail atmosphere gave me the spirit and the actual confidence to go into where I'm at today in the gym business.
Really?
It's dealing with people
Okay.
on a constant basis. We're a factory, we're just dealing with factory workers. But the retail gave me the openness to go into, what I do today, which is the gym business, which is, the hospitality, the entertainment we're talking about, all those things that, come in, high engagement. That's what it was all about. So that's what the shoe business did for me.
Right.
And then that, I worked at shoe stores, then I ended up opening up my own shoe store.
Really?
About the age of 22 or 23. So that was fantastic.
How did you go, like, just on that, because I kind of business myself, understand, how did you go from working for someone to be able to open a store and everything that goes with it? That's quite a job.
You know what? It was, and it was a lot of hard knocks. The one thing I learned to be quickly was engaging in people, and I read a lot of books, and I learned a lot. I like to have, I like to get opinions from people. I like to learn from anybody that's a great professional. And I went, asked, at the conventions, they had shoe conventions in those days. I went in and learned everything about the retail, how to do inventory, how to manage inventory, how to do buying, how much to buy, seasonal buying, colors, and all that stuff. The fashion industry is a very complicated industry.
Yeah.
Very complicated industries. But, I had to learn all that as a young man, and it was hard.
Yeah.
And it was hard. But listen, I did it for 12 years. It was not a short time.
No, so you obviously made it.
Yeah, we did well. I ended up having 4 shoe stores.
Really?
Through those times. So we did, I did quite well.
Yeah.
Quite well with it.
Yeah.
But as things turned, as life went on, we actually, where I decided, one point that I got a little bored, and because I was working out at places like North Hollywood Health Spa, and ended up gravitating to another place called Vince's Gym in North Hollywood too. It was kind of a famous bodybuilder's gym. Back in 1975, 74, which I think was, right after I opened up my shoe stores, I walked into Gold's Gym in Venice, California.
Was that because there's a few? I've been to one of the Gold's Gyms, but apparently there was an original one, which was
there's one on Main Street.
Right.
Then there's one in Santa Monica.
Okay.
And then there's the one where it's at now in Hampton.
Right. Okay.
So I ended up walking to the one in Hampton.
Right.
And
was that the very first one, or
that was the third one.
Oh, the third. Okay.
The third one.
Right.
But I'll tell you what, it was fantastic. It was the same feeling I had when I walked into the North Hollywood Health Spa, but even bigger for me because it was bigger.
So just paint the picture of, tell me what was it? Paint the picture of the gym.
Look, anybody that walks into Gold's Gym in Venice, I don't know if you've been there or not.
I've been to the big one that's there now.
Yeah, it's there now. But when I walked in there, it was like, you see the photos all the way around about everybody.
Right.
Everybody's working out really, really hard. I don't care who you are. You stop, you look, you listen, you smell it. Not that good a smell, to tell you the truth, but you know what? It's just a vibe of just hardcore training.
Right.
Hardcore training. And once the bug bit me again, and I lived in the San Fernando Valley, and I drove all the way to Venice to work out. I mean, I drove, every day in the morning.
How long was that?
I did that for years.
How long was the drive to the gym?
It was literally an hour.
Oh, really?
2 hours turnaround time, I'm saying. So it was well worth it for me.
And at that time, what was the market like? Was that just one of a kind in the whole area, or were there quite a few of those types of gyms?
It was one of a kind.
Right.
At that time, the emergence of the big box gyms, like you said, Fitness First, and none of those big boxes basically existed. There were more racquetball centers, small clubs, European health spas, Jack LaLanne.
Right.
Those type of gyms, more fluffy.
Yeah.
I would say. But we've been in business since 1965. From the original goals on Main Street, it kept that serious fitness, consistent all the way through. It still does today.
Right.
We still have that name permeates that, although we've expanded into a whole, every field imaginable.
Yeah.
But we like that it has that today. But back then, we were the only one we were the kings for sure of that niche market.
Yeah.
110%.
Yeah. And so you were just a member of that gym then at the time. You had
Correct.
the shoe stores. You're a member.
Correct.
So how did you go from?
So up to 1987, I decided to sell my shoe company.
Right.
Big step. And I said, I got to go. But something in the back of my head said, I want to go into the gym business. I wanted to go into the gym business. And something made me call Gold's Gym, because I was working out at Gold's Gym. I knew they were franchising. I called a gentleman named Paul Gronkowski, and he told me to come down. And he, I was in that. Now I'm in their office. It was really wow, this is now may happen here. And they agreed to sell me a territory in North Hollywood, California.
Right.
This was back in '87. I mean, and I really didn't know the gym business, but because I knew retail.
Right.
From the shoe business,
yeah,
I felt that I could really do something big in it.
Okay.
Because at that time, it hadn't evolved to where it is today. It was still ran by mostly bodybuilder enthusiast guys.
Yeah.
And they're bodybuilder guys. They quite didn't know the retail part like I did.
Right.
So I spoke to them, and they gave me the territory of Studio City, North Hollywood, California.
Okay.
I bought it, and
sorry, just on that a second then. So was it, now thinking about it, going into the gym and opening the gym, just the finances of that seem quite overwhelming. Yeah, and it sounds, as you're talking, it sounds as though you're just taking this in your stride. But at that time, you were what, early 20s, were you?
30s.
Oh, you were 30s.
Yeah.
Was that?
Yeah.
Was that sort of?
The shoe store was when I was 22, 23.
Okay. Yeah.
I ended up there for about 12, 13 years.
Yeah.
Sold it and went into the gym business.
Right. And what kind of, when you were doing that, was it like, yeah, okay, I'm a success, I'm going to go into the gym business, high level of confidence, or was this a sort of a big, a lot of nervousness, can you do it, or were you just, very confident you could do it?
You know what? I look at everything in life. I always have there's always a nervousness, obviously, with anything you're doing, because it just is new.
Right.
But I'm always sort of been able to choreograph the process, sort of before it even happens.
Right.
Sort of like a fighter going into the locker room and choreographing the fight before it happens, and his win.
Right.
I sort of did that fairly well, and that helped me get through that, because you get to a point where you either go do it or you don't.
Yeah.
And you can talk yourself, and you always have analytics are always important, but at one point you either got to jump or not. And I think that first club, when I looked at it, and it was a furniture store, by the way, that used to be a furniture store. It was empty. And I decided to go ahead and make that jump. I bought the territory, I found the location, and now I had to go, let's do this gym.
Yeah. Was it a big amount of money in those days?
No, not even close.
No.
We did what you told me about your story with you and your father. I mean, we built it, with being a bunch of guys. I mean, literally, we did that.
Right.
But it took us about 4 or 5 months to open up the place.
Right.
But you know what, Matthew? It was a magical time. I really have to say that at that time, there was a lot. There was a lot of romance in the gym business at the time. It was, it was my first gym, and I loved working out. I already had been working out for, a very long time, 15 years. So being in something that I really loved to do was important for me. And it was my baby. It was it was something that I really wanted to do with my baby. I was there from literally 5 a.m. until midnight all the time. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I lived there. It was really.
Were you married at the time, or?
I was not. I was not married at the time. But it was just it was something I really wanted to do, and I thought that and also at that time too, I met great people that were, sort of the pioneers of the early gym industry.
Right.
There was a gentleman named Frank Kaplan, who since passed away, but he was a great mentor of mine at the beginning of that stage. We used to talk every night, sometimes till 2 o'clock in the morning. We used to talk about the gym, and he actually used to sometimes even go to the gym with me late. We used to close the gym down and sit there till 1:30 in the morning after it closed down, just looking at it. because he loved it just the way I did.
So was he a family friend or a business
No,
friend?
a guy that I met, that he was one of the vendors.
Oh, really?
One of the vendors. But he befriended me right away. We kicked it off.
Yeah.
He loved my enthusiasm, even though I didn't know the gym business, and I loved his knowledge.
Right.
He knew the gym business.
Right.
So it was like the same thing like I told you about the shoe business, where I went and got people to teach me.
Yeah.
It was the same thing with this. I don't know everything. I learned from everyone that's, in an industry that they're successful. I want to learn from them. He did that. He took me under his wing and taught me a lot of great information.
So he was a sort of key person in that period of time for you.
For me, on a personal and professional level, it was for me.
Yeah.
And but at that time, so we opened up that club in 1988, I think it was, or 89, 88.
Yeah.
88, and it did fantastic. It did fantastic right out of the gate. It was a small club, 9,000 square feet. I'd never do that now, but at that time it was the world to me. My God, and we did fantastic. I mean,
did you think before you opened it? Did you think it was going to be as good as what it was, or was it?
Like I said, I always go in thinking it's always going to be great. Correct, that whole thing, and and at that time I think Gold's Gym had 330 gyms instead of the 700. They were a little bit smaller too.
Yeah.
Still run kind of. It was actually not even a franchise company. It was more of a licensing company.
Right.
Basically, you just, rented the name and kind of run it the way you want to. There was really no consistent, schedule to run everything. But we did well. I mean, we did fantastic. We saw a ton of membership. We won Rookie of the Year for Gold's Gym that first year. We won Retailer of the Year because being in retail, the Gold's Gym brand, pro shops, are big for us.
Yeah.
And we love leveraging, the brand. So that was being in retail. Our pro shops are actually some of the best world-renowned pro shops in the industry because we take retail very seriously.
Yeah.
Especially having the brand that we have, which everybody wants to wear. So, we've done retail well since 1987, basically, all the way on up now. So
what made it a success? Was it success? Was it great location? Were there things that you did specifically to make it a success? And if so, what were those?
Yeah, I think it was a combination, a plethora of everything you're saying.
Right.
I think it was the brand.
Yeah.
I think that was important for you to know that the brand was important then. It is important now.
Right.
It is, I think probably 50% of it.
Yeah.
I think having that Gold's Gym brand is always, a great, a great leverage for us to use in the marketplace.
Yeah.
It's important, and I'll hit on that later on as I get the conversations. I think the location was great. North Hollywood is a great market, and we did actually really well. And then the third thing I think was actually my brother and me, Willie. I got a brother named Willie Banos who runs the company with me. He came in with me when he was younger than me, and we were people. We ended up, we were friends with our members.
Right.
We loved them when they walked in.
Yeah.
We cared about them. We don't care whether they spend $1 a day or $1,000 a day, for personal training or something like that. We treated them the same.
Yeah.
We treated everybody with respect. They loved coming in, and we created a pretty good, I will say, a great community within the community. I mean, we just had, and at one point it was a very, very busy club.
Right.
It was fantastic. I mean, we had a great time. We had a great time. You know what I'm saying? And that was the beginning. That's what got us off set into where we're at today.
Right. So you had one club, and then how did you get from there? Then you just said let's duplicate it again.
Yeah. Well, listen. Duplication sometimes sounds easy, but sometimes it may not be so easy. So
because you I guess you and your brother, one club, you can get the relationship with the people, but outside of that you can't be in.
That's right, and you're right. That's the hard part. So, but here's what we did. So we found another location.
Right.
3 years later, in 1991, in Hollywood, California.
Right.
And taking another risk. And at that time, Hollywood, California wasn't even close to what it is today. It was kind of seedy.
Right.
Kind of dark and just weird. And this club we picked out was actually in a commercial area of Hollywood. It wasn't even in the best part of Hollywood. But we knew that it needed a club. We knew that the success of the other club, we can duplicate some of it in this club, but it has its own community with actually a different set of demographics than North Hollywood, where North Hollywood is more suburb, Hollywood is more urban.
Right. Okay.
So we had to, differentiate the members there. So we went in. We decided let's go do it. And we opened up a 10,000 square foot club, another small one. And I'll tell you what, Matthew, from day one, we did fantastic in that club too.
Right.
Yeah, it's been one. That was actually the catalyst of growth for us. That sort of was the, created our DNA.
Right.
Because we took that little club at 10,000, and over all these years, we've expanded it to 30,000. We've always been able to expand it, make it bigger. As a matter of fact, we're working on another renovation now to expand it.
Right.
It's one of the busiest clubs in the world per square foot. I mean, it's got tremendous amount of membership base, loyal members that are still there, almost 25 years, that they've been members. So,
and how did you do that with, as you said, first one, you and your brother, very hands-on. What was the secret? Was it getting good people to duplicate that? How did you scale that original?
Yeah, two clubs close by, easy.
Right.
We just went back and forth.
Okay.
He worked one, I worked the other. We had a couple of, AAA team members that were also working with us as management on that level.
Right.
But it was easy. It was corralled in a small area. The clubs were 25 minutes from each other. We were able to really basically go back and forth and run both of them on a consistent management level.
Right. Okay.
So those two were great. And by the way, we had a lot of fun at that time, which is really important to the whole factor here.
Right.
Having fun, being able to go in there and make people happy, and us being also happy at the same time and having fun at the same time. That was a really important factor for us.
Right.
My brother and me talked about it, a few years after we opened up the two clubs, and we go, hey, if there's something we still want to continue, we both love the industry.
Right.
And that's really an important factor. So that got us into the next level, which, gym number 3, which is actually like 6-7 years later after that.
Right.
Basically in 1998, we decided to go into the downtown Los Angeles area.
Right.
And open up a club there, which we did. And that was a bigger tipping point. I'll tell you why. Where the first two clubs were all small clubs, the downtown LA was our big club. We went from a 10,000 square foot clubs to 30,000 plus square foot clubs. So that changed everything. I remember walking into that, the building itself. It was big. It was a department store, and it was empty, and it was big. We went like, oh my God, this is huge. What do we do here? I mean, where do you even start? Because at that time we haven't seen clubs like that.
Right.
Remember, it wasn't like we see them. Right. It wasn't like we see them now. They're everywhere, right? Yeah. But at that time, you couldn't fathom it. It's like opening up a Costco, you know what I'm saying, or a Home Depot. But, in the old days was mom and pa hardware stores,
right?
In the corner, and all of a sudden when Home Depot went in with this giant, hardware, and home building, it was like, what the heck? But yet it worked.
Why did you do that then? Because that's probably a big risk to everything was more rent, equipment.
Everything.
Did you just think that was the way the business was going, or?
We did. Yeah. We felt we needed bigger space.
Right.
We felt that having the access to have more members in a bigger space would be more comfortable for them. Also, I felt that at that time too, it was after the 24-hour in LA Fitness, surge that was happening. Okay. So we knew that the industry was going in that direction too.
Yeah.
And we had to, and a few Gold Gym that case were also going, bigger boxes.
Right.
So we knew we had to make, that move. As our analytics worked, we knew that those boxes were getting in more members. Members were paying a little bit more. A little bit more money, so that was something we said we got to do it now. Now, another factor that was risky for us in 2000, downtown LA, again, just like Hollywood, wasn't what it is today either.
Right.
You know, they had, you know, it was a little bit, you know, they still were not. It was a decrepit area,
Right.
but we knew that growth was coming. There was you know, residences starting to be built.
Yeah.
The community redevelopment agency was, you know, they were betting that they were going to bring in businesses.
Right.
Staples Center, they were building there. The
Right.
LA Live, all that stuff that you saw when you went to Ursa here, that wasn't there then. I decided to go in and just make, you know, I said, we're going to make this happen. And for all of us, it was a big mindset change because, excuse me, you know, we felt this, you know, downtown was further away. Now we had to, you know, change the way we're going to think about running a business, and it was a bigger box.
Yeah.
So nobody was really kind of prepared. We were, but we weren't. We never did it. So we had to get, you know, people to really help us out, and brought in a couple of consultants in the industry that helped us out a little bit.
Right.
And that was, you know, that was also, we were smart in doing that.
Right.
We were smart in getting knowledge from people to get us to that other level of, you know,
Right.
running a bigger box.
Right. And is that still something is that something that's, because you've mentioned that a few times, where you've had either mentors or other people, is that something that you still believe in, is, you know, getting views from other people? Or
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. I still have, as a matter of fact, one of my mentors, his name is John Paul, who was helping me out in a downtown location. I've actually hired him, came to work with us as
Right.
part of my team now, full time now,
Right.
today. This is, you know, you're basically looking at, you know, how many years later, you know, 2010, 17 years later, now he's working with me full time. He's 74,
Right.
by the way. And I don't care. Him and me had some of the best conversations ever. Because he was my mentor then. He's also my mentor now.
Right.
We run a lot of things off each other. And it's a fantastic, you know, thing for me to have too.
And you use that for someone just to sort of challenge your ideas or to push you out? What do you sort of... What?
Challenge ideas, push me,
Right.
give me ideas, debate,
Yeah.
you know, plan the future, plan everything. I mean, he is one of my first morning calls that I do.
Really?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm not afraid to admit it.
No.
You know, it's actually a good thing that I did bring him in, because I love having him, and it's always good to get, you know, that feedback and
Yeah.
some of the reassurance with great experience. He's done so many gyms for a lot of people at a
Right.
consultant level,
Okay.
that it's always good to hear
Yeah.
what he's got to say for me.
Yeah.
And mainly too, you know what, having a guy like that too, he cares about me. He truly cares about me, which is also important.
Yeah.
You know, it's not only a financial situation, it's he cares about me as a person.
Yeah.
And that's an important relationship to have too.
Yeah. So going obviously 3 gyms, and you've got how many you have now?
17.
17. So throughout that time, did they all go? Because it sounded like those first 3 you was on a roll. Was that like a pattern of your career, or did sometimes things not go as planned?
Well, and they have some of them have
Really?
struggled in the past. We haven't had all home runs,
No.
but we haven't had strikeouts either.
Right.
So I could say we can, you know, we're not batting 1,000, but we've had some, you know, 400 or 500, you know, clubs.
Yeah.
But again, we every time we've had a challenge in any of our clubs, we call them, you know, we always go what they call DEFCON. You know, we elevate it and we all get in and we gang tackle it and, you know, get in it to fix it.
Right.
And
What would be one of the most sort of challenging times that you can remember in your career then?
challenging times probably about 3-4 years ago.
Right.
Where we actually did the growth from, you know, we went from 8 gyms, 7 gyms to the 12 clubs. We basically doubled up the company in about a 2-year span.
Right.
And that was the actual, we better look at what we're doing here.
Right.
And we did. I took everybody back and I said, okay, let's restructure this.
Right.
Let's look at what we're doing, why we're doing it, and, you know, how we're doing all this, and how can we make it better? And it was difficult. We had to look inward. I had to look inward. Am I doing the right job? Is everybody around me doing the right job? Are we in the right seat in the bus?
Right.
To be able to do going from this you know, exponential growth like the way we did. So we ended up actually moving people around.
Right.
We moved some people around within the organization. We moved some people out.
Yeah.
And we brought some people in.
Right.
And that was probably the biggest game change we had in 15 years, because 20 years, because we just didn't, we just thought everybody was with us. The way we did things was always going to be forever.
Right.
And we got a little comfortable, and that was not good.
No.
We needed to get her out of our comfort zone. So, and we did. We did it very quickly.
Really.
And we did a whole new organizational chart, the way the company runs, the way the company communicated, all that, everything changed.
Right.
And it was hard, because a lot of times, being entrepreneurial mindset, we're very demanding guys, and the firefight went on every day all over the place. We had said, okay, stop. Now we're going to go through a structure. Thing, A to B, C, D. That's the way we're all going to communicate and get things done.
Right.
No longer is, panic mode going on every day, put out fires. We're going to get things done the right way.
Right.
So we had to change the mindset. We had to change the way we communicated, the way we actually executed, and the way we actually, solved problems. So that was a huge, huge turning point, I think, for the entire company.
And was that just because you got to a size where you couldn't no longer do things the way you always had?
Correct.
Right.
Correct. And it solved, the clubs that were somewhat struggling.
Yeah.
It helped them too, because we were able to, go through a structure to get in there and stay there and get them fixed. Where before it was just, send in Joe, try and see what happens and go from there. No, it was no longer that. It was actually create a plan, create how to do it, who's going to do it, by when and how, and all that, and just it created a better system for everyone to succeed.
Yeah.
And it created respectability in the company.
Yeah.
Matthew created, it became a real company.
Right.
It became a real company. So that was a pretty big change for us.
Yeah.
At that time.
And was that something that you noticed, look, things are not, things are changing, and you sort of stepped in and said, okay, we now need to talk about it. How did you kind of realize? Because I guess a lot of businesses, they get to a certain size and then they outgrow the leaders, and they either go back and go out of business or whatever. So was that something that you took a step back and looked and got, spoke to your mentors? How did you sort of deal with that?
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that I had to look at myself inward, am I the right one to carry the step forward here?
Yeah.
I was, it's a hard pill to swallow if you're not the guy.
Yeah.
I felt, and they felt, that I still was. Not only was I was not only the spiritual leader of the company, because I always had, like I said, that confidence level that, hey, we're going to get this done. We will do it.
Yeah.
But I had to also become the professional leader of the company.
Right.
That I had to know what I was talking about was truth, and I felt that was an integral part of what the team needed to know, and I delivered it well. I felt, when I asked my brother, am I still the right guy for the job? What do you think? If you just met me today, if I went away for 3 days, would you hire me?
Right.
And he still came back and said, yeah, I would hire you. So that was good to hear, that they still have that confidence in my abilities to lead. However, it just, somebody just telling me that great, you're great isn't going to do it. I did have to go out there and surround myself even with more people. We went through 2 rounds of bringing in a new team for the company, and what I call assets.
Okay.
Team assets.
Yeah.
And that was also big for me, because I don't like to micromanage, like I said, so I needed a team in place to get me to the goal line.
Yeah.
And that was a big part. But I believe that me having the ability to bring in the great team with great quality traits that I wanted. 2 things that I always look for in a team member. A, do they fit?
Right.
Do they fit into the company and the culture of the company? And will they make an impact? Those are the only 2 things that I look for. And so far, over the last 3 years, the team that I have built, I will say, is as good as it gets in the industry. Yeah. As good as it gets. Yeah. They're fantastic. And that was, it took me a while to put that together.
Right.
It just didn't happen. It took a lot of time, and it took a lot of, and I brought some of them from without too.
Right.
So I had to, work on the, integrating their old culture with my culture. And we also put up some, we always throw the brass ring into our own people. We like to promote from within.
Right.
So we brought in, some people that were dormant, basically. As soon as I threw that brass ring out, they stepped up and created some fantastic results for us too.
Yeah. And did you have to grow yourself sort of mentally to be able to sort of move to, you mentioned, the business was growing up. Was that something you had to also, change the way you behaved? And
absolutely, and it was hard because we were so used to, crisis management, where you're able just to pick up the phone and, hey, toilet paper's missing here. As silly as it sounds, we're that type of organization.
Hands-on.
Yeah, we're that type of organization, and we had to say, hey, that's not that. You have to really change the way you're going to go about the whole structure. So you have to have discipline.
Yeah.
You have to have that discipline to say, you know what, it's going to go this way. But the more you continue with that same discipline, and continue, the more everybody adapts to it.
Right.
And then when the new people, the new team members that come in, they see you going within the system, so they adapt to your system, that you're doing too.
Yeah.
So it wasn't going from crisis management to bringing in people with also crisis. Everybody that comes into our organization, has to go through the same system that we're all going through.
Yeah.
We have a goals from university,
right,
in-house. Every new team member has to go through it, whether you're a personal trainer, front desk, fitness, manager, they all have to go through it. And it creates that consistent culture. Big key factor when you're doing multi clubs.
Right. Okay. And how long have you been doing the university?
10 years.
Oh, right. Okay.
10 years.
Do you think that helps? Because it sounds like or am I right? That a lot of these people have been with you for a long time. Is that correct? You sort of.
Some of them are maybe for 25 years.
Really?
25 years. 24 years.
And what would you say is the success of? Is it paying them well? Is it training? What? How do you? Because a lot, in the industry, the retention generally is not great.
That's right. A lot of high retention, high attrition rate in our industry. I do pay them well. If I think they're worth it, especially. I think I give them autonomy in what they do, which is important. They're able to, do their job.
Right.
And if they do it well, they'll do a great job. We reward them. We reward them with not only money, we reward them with recognition.
Right.
Which is really important too. Sometimes even beyond the money, if you think about it.
Yeah.
It's like a golfer at the Masters. You know what they get? They get a green jacket. It's like a Super Bowl ring.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or the cup in hockey.
Yeah.
It goes beyond. It's the recognition.
Right.
So I think that's a great factor. We do that a lot.
Yeah.
Within the team.
Yeah.
So I think it's a combination of a lot of things.
Right.
We also in some aspects run like a family. We're big enough that
How many people in that?
We got about 1,200 employees.
Wow.
1,200. Yeah. But still, we know them. We talk to them. We shake their hands. We go into the clubs. We recognize everyone. Everybody's important. Whether it's a facilities team member that cleans the club, or a front desk warrior that greets our members, or a personal trainer that gives results, or an instructor that teaches a Les Mills class, or yoga. They're all important in the chain to success results for Gold's Gym as a brand, Southern California,
right,
and create that integrity value system for our members.
Yeah,
really, really important to create that value system for our members.
Right. So bringing more to today then, seeing what's happening in the industry, and I suppose we use the term the big box gyms. So they popped up everywhere, and generally in a lot of markets around the world, the big box what's traditionally been mid-market are having quite a tough time at the moment. You know, a lot of them are, particularly in Europe, are sort of no longer there. How do you see your business with the industry changing, the low costs coming in, the sort of boutiques coming up? What's your view on what you're doing and how that links with what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when in Germany when McFit came in and Planet Fitness in the United States, those are very big disruptors in the marketplace, as we all know. And, obviously everybody said, hey, they're not going to work. Why would anybody go to a $9 gym? Guess what? They did. Yeah. That was reality. They did that. That is a real McCoy that we have to deal with. And they did disrupt the market. However, Planet came in over 10 years ago into the marketplace. And, some of my clubs are literally across the street from Planet Fitness today, as we sit in the marketplace. What we do well, is to our members, the brand itself, because it creates results in the mindset of a member, it's really important that we leverage that to our members. Every member that walks in knows that we're Gold's Gym. Right. The way we build our physical plant, it says Gold's Gym in every angle. We have a lot of equipment. We have a lot of classes. We have a lot of functional training. We have a lot of cardio. We have a lot of personal trainers. We have a lot of education to our members. We have a lot of communication with our members. We care about our members. We really care. We're not just, here's $9, there's the floor, have a good workout. Right. We want to make sure we remember I said to you, I was friends with my members when I first opened up my first club. Right. We're friends with our members now. We want to make sure they get results. So the value that we create, if a person wants that atmosphere, they'll pay for it, and they have. Right. Now, this is very important for you to know. Just having the brand Gold's Gym, it's a hardcore brand. It's a hardcore brand, right? And the mentality, you ask people out there, they go, so people go, whoa. But we leverage that very well too, because we are hardcore. Yeah. And we cater to the hardcore executive, right, like yourself, the hardcore soccer mom, like Michelle Mills. She's a soccer mom, right? Okay, yeah. But we cater to her. The hardcore policeman, the hardcore lawyer. If you're serious about what you do, so are we. Right. Okay. So we're the brand for you. Yeah. And that's really, it's like Harley Davidson. I don't know if you know the bike's Harley Davidson, but they're a hardcore bike. Yeah. And 30 years ago, they were ridden by Hell's Angels. Today, they're ridden by lawyers and doctors and housewives. Everybody rides them, So we're the same way. We have a hardcore image, but because we're a hardcore image, people that want to get results, they'll say, you know what? I want to be part of that hardcore image. Right. And so we have sort of a niche market within the niche market. And believe it or not, if you go to my clubs, I have 70-year-old people. 45% of my membership is women. All walks of life. Kids. Enthusiasts for yoga. Group. Cycling. Weightlifters. It's all in the same arena. Right. Because they want to belong to something that stands for something. Right. It stands for something. It's belonging to a club with a real brand. And they brag about it. Nobody wears, other t-shirts except Gold's Gym. Those are the biggest selling t-shirts. They want to wear that. So Planet does very well what they do. Yeah. If somebody wants to just buy that and go in there, it'll be fantastic. They'll get a good deal. They can do the treadmill, eat pizza on Thursdays or Fridays whenever they serve it, which is what they do, and tan, and that's their niche. Yeah. That's their niche market. I have a different niche market.
So why do you think, though, that...
Did I make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. It totally made sense. So why do you think then, because I'm interested, because I have seen it in many countries around the world, particularly Europe and even here in the US. Why do you think then that so many of those, what I would call, I suppose, mid-market businesses that have adopted that have struggled to deal with those changes over the last 5 years, and you know, a lot of them have gone out of business or not made money, and yet you have been able to, you're almost like, well, it doesn't affect me, you know, is that those, you know, you've just gone through all those different points, is it a combination of all those things that, you know, is there a magic recipe that you've got that those other businesses have just kind of missed a lot of that out? What's your view on that?
I don't know if you want to call it a magic recipe. I don't think I'm that good. So I don't want to get philosophical, but there's a reason human beings are here. Evolution. We've evolved, adapted to the environments, the weathers, etc. Stages of evolution has gotten human beings where they're at today. Businesses have to evolve. I remember when the low price models opened up, people didn't believe it was not going to work. Yet it did work, like I said at the beginning a few minutes ago, and they didn't evolve. We did. We evolved our clubs. Right. And we did then, before Planet, and we do now. We always remodel. We always keep them clean. We always look at, this is important too. Of course, we're not going to be naive about the pricing either. We always work on getting the members the value at a great price. Right. At a great price. Not necessarily $9, but we do work on getting them to a budget that works for them and their families. Yeah. We also create value by having our people create the results for every new member. Every new member that joins my clubs gets a call, gets an email, gets contacted, goes through a welcome workout. By the way, it's like you buying a car. You know, they need your driver's license to drive the car. Same thing with us. You have to have a driver's license. So you have to go through that welcome workout to get into the club, basically. Yeah. And that's, you know, you might think it's like kind of trite about that, but it really isn't, because it creates value to the member that we care about you. We care about your results. We care about your nutrition. We care about your supplementation. We sell all this, by the way, within the club. Right. I mean, we're just not just a club. We sell all these products within the club itself. We want to make sure you have the right gear. We want to make sure you get educated. You were talking about treadmills earlier. Believe it or not, I don't think treadmills are treadmills. I believe treadmills are a great product for you to use to get your results. Right. And you have to know how to use that. Yeah. You know, we educate our members on how to use a treadmill. Some companies just say, go over there, press the button and go. We want you to make sure you can leverage what a treadmill does for you. Right. We want to make sure you can leverage what a cycling class does for you. Right. We want to make sure you can leverage what free weight strength training does for you. Yeah. It's really important, because once you care about that person, it makes a difference between them banking on you or not. Right. And that's been another tipping point for our company, that we really go the extra mile to make sure that every member gets those results. Right. And that's really a big key factor, which you call the magic. I think that's a lot of it for me. Right. I mean, and I don't veer off that. If someone in my company doesn't believe what I'm saying when it comes to that hospitality service results, we got a problem. Right. We really got a problem. It's important for us that, in this conversation, that's a big, strict line in the sand for me. You know, I don't cross it.
So what do you see the industry looking like next 5 to 10 years? You know, do you still see, what's your prediction? You've obviously predicted over the last, I guess, 20 or 30 years where it's going. You know, what would you say is next for your business? Just continue to do things better, or, what do you think's happening?
I believe the spaces are going to be, okay, let's talk about the physical plant. I think the physical plant will change. Right. I think we are going to have more open spaces. I think that is something that's not coming, it's here. Right. Been here. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I think that's an integral part. I think there's going to be more community fitness within the space too, more group fitness within the space. I think, I believe there's going to be more artificial intelligence. Really? Not robots. I think there's going to be more data analytics into our members, would-be members. I think there's going to be more profiling. The more data we have on where Matthew spends his money, how he spends it, what he eats, I think it'll be a click that we can capture data on our members and actually profile them to get them to that sweet spot. Let's talk about that for a minute. It's really important you know this, which is where we're going right now, and it's really big. I think game-changing as far as I'm concerned. So let's say you, your wife, and your son join the club, okay? She likes yoga. You like strength. Your son likes cycling. 3 different worlds within our world. And we have them.
Right.
But the question is how to get you to that spot that's going to work for each of you.
Yeah.
Really important. First of all, I want to know that. That's the important part. Because if I just give you a museum tour without hitting your sweet spot, it probably won't work as good if I knew your sweet spot. And if your sweet spot is strength, and I had knowledge on everything about that strength area that hits your spot, that gets you, you've been training for 30 years, right, Matthew? Wow, have I got the club for you. Let me show you my strength equipment. You probably remember this kind of stuff because you worked 30 years ago. We got some of that old school stuff right here, right now, Gold's Gym. So welcome to Gold's Gym. Let me show you some of this and take you to that spot.
Right.
Your wife, she likes yoga. You know what? We've got 2 instructors. One happens to be from India. That's a yogi in India. You want to meet him? I can set up a class for you. Another sweet spot for your wife, possibly. Your son likes cycling. You know, one of our teachers did the Tour de France, and he teaches for us at 6 p.m. on Sunday. You want to come on in on me for free? Come in this Sunday. You're going to get a treat. So now I've taken what I call the museum tour and go race to the bottom of the price to now creating, what did I say? Value.
Right.
It's valuable for you, for what you need, valuable for your wife, what she needs, and valuable for your son and what he needs to get to his fitness goals, have fun in an area that's maybe a little bit intimidating, doesn't even know it. So that's a big key factor. Data, I think, will also help us in getting in. That's what I meant about artificial intelligence. I think there's going to be programs that we're going to be able to capture as soon as you click. There's actually right now, I read the other day, guys, listen to this, it's very important. Have you ever gone to Google and looked, let's say, for a pizza place, and the number comes up? Once you click at that number permeates that you clicked on that pizza number. Okay. And it's going to go into a database. Right. That Matthew clicked that pizza place at this time of day. Right. And that's now, guess what? Common knowledge that you're buying pizza. So that's the factor that I'm talking about. So when I'm talking about artificial intelligence, I'm saying that the data that's coming into us, I think it's going to be a game changer for our industry.
So understanding more about people's likes and dislikes.
Absolutely.
And then being able to use that to profile.
Listen, you're asking me about the future. Yeah. Nobody really knows. No. I'm just giving you I feel that it's
going that way.
Going to go that way in 5 years. I think there's going to be more to that.
And with the clubs, with the boot, you talked about the yogi and the cycle and the strength. So, do you see that as being almost like sort of club within club, like your sort of department store where you've got this and you've got that? So like your facility having these different specialty areas with specialty trainers within it. Is that...
Yes. Right. But everybody still integrates. Right. I discovered this 10 years ago when I talked to one of my fitness consultants, the guys that sell the memberships. Right. I went in there and sat with him, and I asked them about yoga. They didn't know anything about yoga. We had it. Yeah. So so if I like yoga, how are you going to tell me about yoga? So part of the profiling secret, I think, is to also have our team educated on every factor of that, what you call all these silos within the gym. Right. But even though we have all these silos, we're integrating blend everybody together.
That's a good point.
Blend everybody together. That's really a key, a key factor too.
Yeah. I guess that's what could be missing in some, you've got those areas, but you don't have that integration. I think, that's a good point, because at the end of it, I suppose I want to meet with my wife, my son, my daughter, and
Absolutely, and let's talk about it. And by the way, in prevalence years ago, where the group exercise, culture didn't integrate with the free weight guys. Now we're trying to create some kind of integration in that, and it's been hard.
Yeah.
But we're getting there.
Yeah.
We're having classes on, especially with what you guys do.
Yeah.
Bringing in all the rigs into the middle of the floor. Where now weightlifters are seeing these open spaces and going, wow, wait a minute, can I go in there and maybe do maybe better workout in that space with a rig instead of just free weights? So now it's all integrated, because in some ways you also have free weights in those rigs too. So now it's even, those spaces are now starting to open up and integrating with each other. I think it's going to be a beautiful thing. Yeah. I really do. I'm bullish on the industry.
Yeah.
I'm really bullish on the industry. You know what? We focus on what we do well. We focus on our brand well. We focus on what we're gonna offer our members well. You know what? There's always going to be a competitor. Yeah. There's always going to be a new one that I haven't even thought about now.
Right.
Who's going to be the next disruptor?
Yeah.
I'm going to be the next disruptor. You know what? I'm going to do better every day than what I did yesterday and what I do now. That's really my deal. Let's keep going. Let's just keep doing it better. You know what? Stick to my guns, stick to my laurels, and keep going. So the opportunities are endless.
So just on that one, as a final question, hearing that from someone who's getting started in the business would make sense. But I'm in your house. You've kind of made it. You've got a beautiful business, a beautiful house, beautiful wife. Why do you want to keep going? Why do you want the hassle?
It's a good question. I think I love what I do. You said you've been working out for 30 years. I'm working out for 47 years. I was a gym rat then. I'm a gym rat today. I love the gym business. I love what I do. I love walking into gyms. I think for me, it's important that I permeate what I live, health and fitness, to my communities. And I love doing it. I love working with the kids. I love working with the communities. I love working with my members. You know what? I don't think I think about it, God, why am I doing this? I think maybe I should, but I just love doing this. Yeah. I love doing it. And I just I get up. I just love talking to my team. I love talking to my members when I walk into any club that I got. And I talk to members in even other people's clubs. I mean, I love the environment. And I think, part of success and longevity in life on a personal level, instead of creating inflammation and anger and something you're unhappy with, is to actually do something that you're happy with. Right. And that's been, I'm grateful that I was able to get into this industry 30 years ago. I'm grateful that I've been able to work out for 47 years and never stopped. So I've been grateful for everything that I have in my life. And my team has been, tremendous asset for me. They've given me the freedom to even, enjoy the fruits of my, my success now. Right. And they were part of my, me getting there too. So I don't take anything for granted. I think, at this point in my life, at almost 65, I'm just going to.
Good for it.
What's that?
You're looking good for that.
Thank you. I'm trying. Yeah, I'm trying, man. It's like it is what it is. But it's something that I'm just going to keep going. Whether I change my roles within the company, that's cool too. And I love my team having the ability to success. To have a succession plan within the company itself. So I think today, like I said, I'm more bullish on the industry than ever before, Matthew. Things that just, I haven't even thought about, I think will manifest in 5 years. I think for both of us, for both of our industry, we're very lucky to be doing this. I think, I think like I said, the possibilities are going to be sky high. And just a matter of just evolving yourself, evolving your teams, evolving your business, and getting knowledge, training and development. Very important too with our teams. and just and having good conversations like we are tonight, now and after we're done with this, it's going to be very, very important for me and my growth as a human being. Yeah. So cool stuff, man. If I was to summarize, success for anybody coming into the industry, or actually any industry in the world, and I'm only going to speak for what's worked for me. Right. But I've seen it work with a lot of my team. Two things: mindset and execution. Those are the two things that have worked for me all my life. If I got that, as I said before, that winning mindset. And what does that mean? Like just focusing on what when you say winning mindset, a lot of it is focus. Okay. The winning mindset, that you can do it, that you can create it, that you can make it happen. No loser mentality here, and having the tools to execute it. I don't care how minute they are. I started with one club. I didn't have the resources that I had today, but both worked for me at that time too. Yeah. I had a winning mindset that was going to make this happen, and I executed on it with very little money. Yeah. And everybody always has excuses on why not to do something. Yeah. Not the right time. I'm too busy. Let the kids get older before I do this. Saying there's always a way out of something. Don't take a vacation, because you're too. No, I think if you have the mindset to do it, that date, that time, and the execution to get it done, for me, that's worked tremendous. Yeah. And I stick to it. I really stick to it. You mentioned focus. Focus means elimination. And when you're doing that kind of mindset, man, it's so important. You know what? Distraction, no way. You can't have it. And when we're doing a club, we focus. We focus on that club. We make it happen. And it's very key that, my team does that. It's very key, on the focus part. As a matter of fact, we have every quarter, we have a mantra. We did, first quarter this year was #yes we can. Right. Second quarter, true story. #yes we will. Third quarter, #focus. Fourth quarter, #finish strong. So those are actual mindset hashtags we use for the entire company. Right. We have quarterly kickoffs, and we set the tone for the entire quarter with about 80 of us in a room, the management team. Really, really important. So I think whether you have a big company or a little company, to set the tone, the mindset tone, without that seed level of your mindset to get something going, nothing can happen. No. That's the first level. Yeah. Second level is the execution part. Yeah. Get those two combined, man, I think it's a beautiful thing. And when on that, do you just not let any, because maybe you don't, but I guess I've had, you get things, when you have a tough day or a tough week or a tough month and doubts come in your mind, you just force them out and just keep moving. Absolutely. Right. Absolutely. Listen, we both have not gotten here today, Matthew, without doing what you just said. How many walls come up a day? Tons. A year? Tons. How many people say to you, don't do it, it won't work? It's always something buzzing around saying, why, don't do it. Yeah. But you know what? I buzz around with, how can I do it? Right. Is really the key to the whole thing. And I think that any young person, or any person for that fact, but coming into specifically our industry, and there's so many great ones out there that are coming in. We're bringing on board so many young people right now that are just fantastic talent, man. Yeah. And they want to learn. They're hungry for growth. They want to go out there and touch people and fix people, and make people healthier and all that stuff. And I see the enthusiasm in it. And I'm going, wow, that's me. 40 years ago, and it's great to see it. Yeah. So I think that's why I keep saying I think it's an exciting time. I think it's all, it's going to be, the opportunities are going to be endless coming up for the next 5, 10, 20 years. Hopefully I'll be around for all that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But I can't wait to see it. So I think what we should do is let's make a plan for 5 years from now. Okay. Maybe even 2.5 on one of these verses. Talk about what the add-ons, make a checklist of all the add-ons that have happened.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
it's going to be interesting.
I'll take you up on that.
Got it.
Angel, fantastic story. Appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks.
Good deal.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you did, then please go over to iTunes and subscribe to the Escape Your Limits podcast. Leave a review, leave a comment. It really would help us a lot to continue to keep these going.